Let's talk about Jeffrey Epstein, a name that has become synonymous with scandal and mystery. Epstein was a wealthy, well-connected financier who abused and trafficked young women for decades. His connections spanned the globe, reaching into the highest echelons of power and society. His 2019 jail cell death didn't end the story, it only deepened the mystery. Questions about how he died and who might have been involved still linger. The real secrets, many believe, are in his files, flight logs, black books, photos, evidence that could implicate the world's most powerful. These documents are thought to hold the key to understanding the full extent of his operations. Enter Donald Trump, who promised to declassify and release everything if elected. This bold promise captured the imagination of many. For his supporters, the Epstein files symbolized proof of elite corruption, a chance for justice and accountability. They saw it as an opportunity to expose the hidden machinations of the powerful. Trump's pledge electrified his base, promising a reckoning for the powerful. The anticipation was palpable, with many hoping for a dramatic unveiling of secrets. But as the administration took office, the promise collided with reality. The complexities of governance and the entrenched interests of the powerful posed significant obstacles. Bureaucratic delays, legal hurdles, and political calculations slowed everything down. The process of declassifying and releasing such sensitive information proved to be more challenging than anticipated. The public, once hopeful, began to suspect the files would never see daylight. Disillusionment set in as the promised transparency seemed increasingly out of reach. The promise of total transparency was quickly replaced by confusion and doubt. The grand vision of exposing elite corruption faded, leaving many to wonder what might have been. Inside the Trump administration, debate raged over what to do with the Epstein files. A key flashpoint, a 10-hour audio interview with Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's notorious accomplice. Some officials pushed for full release, arguing it was essential to keep Trump's promise and maintain credibility. Others warned it could backfire, reigniting scandal and implicating allies. The internal struggle paralyzed the administration, with high-profile resignations and infighting over how much to reveal. The files became a political hot potato, too dangerous to release, too important to hide. When the first Epstein documents were released, the world watched with bated breath, expecting bombshell revelations and long-awaited answers. Instead, the public was met with page after page of heavy redactions, entire sections blacked out, including Trump's own name, barely visible beneath thick lines. The FBI quickly cited privacy laws and ongoing investigations as the reason for the secrecy, but the optics were terrible. People were left frustrated and suspicious, wondering what was being hidden and why. How could Trump promise transparency while shielding himself from scrutiny? The contradiction was impossible to ignore. Trump's statements only muddied the waters further, sometimes vowing full disclosure and openness, other times expressing concern for innocent people who might be caught up in the fallout, as if to justify the secrecy. The administration leaned into conspiracy theories, fueling speculation and encouraging supporters to see hidden enemies everywhere. The saga was framed as Trump versus a shadowy deep-state cabal, a battle for the soul of the nation. This narrative kept Trump's supporters energized and loyal, always ready to defend him against perceived threats. But the contradictions in Trump's words and actions were glaring, leaving many Americans confused and distrustful. Redactions and endless delays only fueled suspicion, as journalists and the public waited for real answers that never seemed to come. Many began to believe the administration was actively hiding the truth. Instead of clarity or closure, the public got a carefully managed spectacle, one that seemed designed to distract and confuse rather than inform. The promise of exposing corruption, once a rallying cry, became just another tool for political theater and manipulation. In the end, transparency was replaced by strategic ambiguity, leaving the public to wonder what was real and what was just part of the show. The truth, it seemed, was still locked behind closed doors. Outside Washington, frustration exploded. Influencers like Joe Rogan accused the administration of gaslighting the public. Congress launched investigations, demanding unredacted files and testimony. Victims' families, like Virginia Giuffre's, condemned officials for excluding survivors from the process. The administration faced outrage from all sides: supporters, Congress, and victims. Every redacted file and delayed release deepened the sense of betrayal. the narrative shifted. Trump was no longer exposing the cover-up, he was part of it. Under mounting pressure, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced a major release of Epstein files. The public eagerly awaited what they hoped would be a groundbreaking revelation. But the documents were mostly old news, recycled, redacted, and disappointing. The anticipated bombshell turned out to be a dud, leaving many feeling deceived. Trump's base felt betrayed, accusing his team of the very cover-up they'd promised to destroy. The sense of betrayal was palpable, spreading like wildfire across social media. The DOJ and FBI soon declared no further disclosures would be made, citing privacy and legal concerns. This decision only deepened the public's mistrust. The move to transfer Ghislaine Maxwell to a lower security facility only fueled speculation of a deal. Conspiracy theories began to flourish, adding to the chaos. The Epstein files saga became a cautionary tale, populist promises clashing with political reality. The gap between expectation and reality grew wider. Legal maneuvering, fear of fallout, and narrative control trumped transparency. The legal system seemed more opaque than ever. In the end, the administration enraged the very people who believed in its promise most. The dream of transparency had turned into a mirage, leaving disillusionment in its wake.